Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Welcome back. So good to see you. Thank you. Be kind to everyone for being here to mod. Kiki, True Crime, thank you. Everyone in the chat and the bushes, it is great to see you here this night. So let's talk about it because I know you want to hear about it. What's in Unit 10? What was in Unit 10? At Beech Storage in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Cadaver dogs hit on it. I've known this for a while. I think you all were with me in a live when we found out they were told it was dead mice, and we pulled up that doesn't work that way. Cadaver dogs can differentiate. But since our live the other night on the search, I found out more information on a specific unit that cadaver dogs hit on more than once. Now, this is important for those of you just coming in. Welcome in. And if you're new to the case, we are talking about the search for Sebastian Rogers from Hendersonville, Tennessee. I'm Jay. This is Crime Time Buzz. I have a wonderful chat, very friendly, and mods who are helpful and keep everyone flowing and enjoying the conversation and on task. And I appreciate you all. Thank you for coming on in. So Sebastian is from Middle Tennessee. He was last seen leaving the Texas Roadhouse in Hendersonville, Tennessee with his mother. His mother said they went home. The garage door closed quickly. You couldn't see who pulled in, didn't see anyone get out. They pulled into the garage door went down, according to witnesses. And that is the last time at the Texas Roadhouse that Sebastian has publicly been seen. The next morning, 6 a.m., after being home alone with his mother all evening and locked in at night and locked in the morning, Sebastian was not there at 6 a.m. We did a live just yesterday, I believe, the day before yesterday, on the search, and a few things in the search radius that were a little alarming, concerning when you go back and you look in hindsight, which is what we're doing now because it's been so many months, right? Over a year and a half. And when we looked at that, the radius was quite small, just in my humble opinion, doing the SAR math. But so we would expect tenacity, perseverance in that area. Worsham's, I do have a source who went to Worsham's, and they were told that law enforcement did come for their footage, but it was about a week in and the footage was already gone. Worsham's is also referred to as Beech Market, which is also has a storage unit right next to it called Beech Storage, and you can see the arrow pointing to Beech Storage there. That is where on unit number 10, a cadaver dog hit, and eyewitnesses have shared with me. So we're going to talk about it tonight. We're also going to watch a little bit of the area that another creator filmed for us so you can see why perhaps someone, when they left the high school, could so easily be at the storage unit. So lot to unwrap, but a cadaver alerting should have, what happened? What was done with that, right? That's what we need to know. Hello to everyone coming in. Thank you so much for being here. Let's go ahead. Excuse my cough. And I don't know why it's on a slideshow today. So I know that's going to, you know me, that'll give me some technical problems. So hopefully not, my friends. I love how patient you all are. And by the way, I just want to tell you, it's so good to see you all out there. I really enjoy you all. Thank you for thumbing it up, Lisa. Please hit the like if you would. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. Join us. We're friendly. We're like a family. And we really do critically analyze and try and think through things. Let me take my comment down. After our live the other night, I was able to get through some of the comments, one of which was very important. And they're out of order right now, but the first one I'm going to show you is about Unit 10. So, a group went to Worsham's, aka Beech Market area, the storage area, Beech Storage, to search for Sebastian in March. They found a mattress pad, They found a box labeled Katie's photos, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And I've heard other things, a couple of other things were found, but I've not seen photos of that. So I just going to leave that alone. I've seen photos of the box. I've seen photos of the mattress pad, which I should have loaded for you today. Forgive me for not doing that. Hey, all I need is Jesus. Hey, Mama Dukes. So, hi, YouTuber is here. Thank you. Hey, Robin. Hope you had a nice birthday. So, this is important because they were out searching, and I've heard the story. You heard it on the live where they saw a cadaver dog hit, and they were told it hit on a mouse. Now, we immediately stopped when I heard that, and we pulled up that they are trained to, cadaver dogs are trained to differentiate between the scent of human death and rodents, animals. Excuse me. So that just wouldn't be, they're trained to know the difference. Question is, now we're hearing hit multiple times and getting a specific unit, Unit 10. Who is the owner of Unit 10? We do learn, I do have a photo also of Kathy Bowersox, the step grandmother, loading things at the storage unit with Christmas items. I've heard that the P-Foots, Katie and Chris, have a unit there. I don't know if they both have units there, but I'm sure if a cadaver dog hit on a unit when you're looking for a missing child or not, you want to know why a dog is alerting, right? I did research it. It's not just, it wouldn't just mean there was excuse me, a trigger warning, body. It could also be things that came in contact with it, clothing, weapon, anything like that. Okay, but let's read this. It's great information. It says the man who owns Beech Market, where I found the stained mattress pad, also owns Beech Storage, where the dog, which was an official police canine trained in cadaver guns explosives, hit on Unit 10 more than once. And then it says per tax records. She's referring to the fact that the man who owns Beech Market Worsham also owns the storage unit per tax records. Since none of our local cops would help, red flag, you're looking for a missing child. It is an area within your 4.5 mile radius, which I think, in my opinion, and I'm sure they did the math of why they chose 4.5, but you would think you would hit anywhere and everywhere, not get there so late you miss footage to the general market so close to his home and high school. So they didn't get there in time for the footage. A dog hit. None of the local cops would help. Don't they want to know why the smell of death is in Unit 10? Whether it's related to Sebastian or any other person? Well, they didn't, it appears, allegedly, from what we're hearing. So she was finally able to elicit help from another Tennessee officer who would only help me if I kept his name out of it. People are really worried there. He told me that it was enough probable cause to get a warrant to search Unit 10. He told Agent Simmons, and nothing was done. For those of you new to the case or not, Agent Simmons is Bobby. You've heard Chris Proudfoot, the stepfather, refer to him in a first name basis, Bobby. He is Special Agent Bobby Simmons from TBI, and he is the lead on this case. So the handler told the Tennessee officer, told Simmons, and nothing was done, allegedly, according to this. This is a reliable source, though. It's not the first time I've heard the stories. Not that they're stories, but you know what I mean. The accounts, let me say that better. He told Agent Simmons and nothing was done. When I repeatedly followed up to see if it was searched, he told me that he did what he could and to basically leave him alone, not in so many words. She's paraphrasing. I was assured that this dog's hit would be admissible in court 100%, yet this man seemed to want to disappear once he told Simmons. Now, this is all alleged. No one's being accused. We are listening to an eyewitness account who was involved in a situation that she shared. And it is not the first person who has talked about hits at the storage unit. Let's talk about it. You're in 4.5 mile radius. Let me show you a map again. Welcome in, everyone coming in. Sorry, I've got it on this. I don't know why it's on a slideshow today, you guys. Okay, real quick. No properly trained cadaver dogs are trained. It said no in answer to my question. Properly trained cadaver dogs are trained to ignore the scent of animal remains and only alert on the unique scent of human decomposition. When I dove further into it, there are 2 scents that come from the human decomposing body that they are trained to detect. While any dog can smell a dead mouse, a cadaver dog's training focuses on recognizing the specific chemical compounds associated with human decay, which allows them to distinguish it from animal remains like a mouse. I'm going to escape real quick from here. Hold on. Hold on, you guys. I want to there we go. Get out of this. I want to show you the map. So it would not be likely that a cadaver dog that was alerting on a mouse. Now, I have another message from someone else who refers to that statement. But before we move on, I want to share this with you. Oh, I don't know why it's doing this. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, you all. I don't know why it's wanting to do this today. Excuse me. Let me turn it. Technical difficulties. I'll do it like this. Okay. I was watching Mr. E's Crimecast, wonderful channel. We're going to be watching a little bit of a drive around he did here at Worsham's General Store, now called Beech Market, right next to Beech Storage. Look at the comment that was left on one of their shows, the show where they are showing the camera footage. They are good friends with the Worshams. Chris angrily stated in one YouTube interview that he will call 2 of the Worshams involved. The Worshams play a part in this somewhere. Again, no one's accusing. But a mattress pad was found there. Law enforcement did not get there. And for those of you who weren't sure, Kathy Bowersox, the step-grandmother, several people have mentioned seeing her there allegedly in the morning. I've heard numerous times between 5 and 6 a.m. The store does not open till 6 a.m. The storage units, interestingly, just so you know, open at 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So there's no staff there, but they have lots of cameras. And you can get in 24 hours a day, and there are some drive-up units. I'm saying this because I'm beginning to wonder, Maybe, yes, in the morning, the handoff, right? We've talked about that. Maybe there was a handoff, and we're gonna look at the map and see why after Mr. and Mrs. E show you if KP's at the high school, if she leaves the other way, she ends up right at the storage units. Did they meet? Did something get put into one of their storage units? Not accusing, we're discussing, speculating, and theorizing. Why was step grandmother there before police were? And the reason I say that is KP in her April of 2025 digital interview with Dateline said by the time she got to the high school, police were on their way, so she was told to turn around. That is very different than what we'd heard before. In that timeline, there was quite a gap, like she had been up there quite a while and had justified why she was up there searching at that school, and CP had justified that on Elevated Truth, another YouTube channel. Well, of course she'd go look there. Okay, very interesting to me. What was going on for that time? Now, Mr. and Mrs. E bring up the time frame that she was gone for about 30 minutes, and that school is 1 minute away. Okay, so then we find out in April, she says, because remember, she had been saying she went to the school to search. Well, in my alleged opinion, when you start thinking about how cameras and this and that, by April of 2025, it was by the time I got there, I was told to turn around. So no more sounding like she was there searching, right? And that was in April. So what was going on for 30 minutes? So my question is, could something have been exchanged, whether it's vehicles, Sebastian, something related to what occurred? I'm not accusing anyone again. We are using theories out there based on things the family themselves have said. And why would the step grandmother be a 25-ish mile drive if she takes minute drive if she's taking Long Hollow Pike, and she's there somewhere between 5 and 6, maybe at 5 to 6, because maybe I know several people saw there. I know several people claim to have seen her. Let me rephrase that. But the footage was not captured. Now, law enforcement was told, I have people who have notified me that they let law enforcement know they had seen her parked on the street out by the general store, CB, Kathy, and that they let them know also that if they went and got there were several, like 6 trail cams right around there that would have captured it as well. If I were a betting woman, I would bet they didn't get the trail cam. They didn't get Worsham's, and that was in their radius. You've got 44,000 acres you're covering, 2,000 people searching. You're supposed to preserve footage. You're looking for a missing child. A general store near his high school and home would make sense to beat it over there. And not only that, they found a mattress pad. I hear a not a fork, not a spoon, but the other. I heard that. I have not seen photos of that yet. So if that's the case, and we have scoured our search radius, why didn't they find in those initial days before they scaled back? Why did they not find the mattress pad, the box with Katie's pictures, labeled Katie's, I think they say Katie's senior photos? Why didn't, it's upsetting. It's very upsetting as a whole. Sorry, I'm having to do it this way, but so here is, I do want to show you something. So we know Agent Simmons from TBI was notified there were more than one hit by a official police K9 trained in cadaver guns and explosives hits onto Unit 10. So we know that's the most important thing, one of the most important things about this live is that we know Agent Simmons knows about it. So I'm hoping to goodness he followed through to find out what was in Unit 10, what was causing the death smell. 100% admissible in court. Did he get a search warrant? Maybe it wasn't related to Sebastian, but did he get a search warrant and search that? I don't know. But look how close it is. Okay, I want to show you something real quick. Here we go. I'm going to enlarge it. Sorry, I don't want to go into slideshow mode and I don't know how to stop it. So just to say, this, remember I said yesterday, this is where she'd come in around here. Here's the high school coming in on Long Hollow Pike. This is around the area Kathy was alleged to be. Before the market even opened, before there was staff at the storage unit. But if you have a storage unit, you have 24-hour access, but there's lots of cameras. But there's also units you can drive right up to. That's something that I just keep in my mind now that I know that. So look how close they were when KP's 30 minutes became basically none, because on the Dateline interview, she said by the time she got there, she had to turn around because law enforcement was coming. So now, what did she spend her 30 minutes doing if it wasn't at the high school? I know she stopped and saw a lady walking a dog, and that lady hadn't seen Sebastian. Her windows were up. Why didn't she run into Worsham screaming, "Have you seen him?" Why? I mean, I don't know. I don't have the answers. It's odd, but why would the grandmother be there before he's reported missing, before they're searching? How is she 30 minutes almost away from home in the neighborhood, allegedly, but doesn't go to the home? Why not just go to the home? Why are you there? Why are you parked on the side of a road in front of a market, allegedly, that hasn't opened, right? Make that make sense. But then if you look here, this is what we're going to watch Mr. and Mrs. E do a drive. But see how I said she could come in here on Long Hollow, and here's the buildings? She doesn't have to come out this way down here on Long Hollow. She can go past the middle school and come out here, and she's right at the storage units where CB was seen, this area. Is that where the 30 minutes was spent? Allegedly, in my opinion. Hi, everyone. Welcome in. And they didn't get that footage. So let's watch the drive-by. Welcome in, everyone. The drive-by, the drive around, excuse me, by Mr. and Mrs. E. It's very valuable. Here's another comment. Wow, that's the first thing I said when I heard she went to school to search, in quotes. The dogs had a hit, and police said it was probably dead mice and blew it off. Oh my gosh, I didn't know they had a storage there, though. Does someone 100 have receipts? Well, I would hope. There's receipts of a photo of mama socks there. But now here's another person who knew about the dead mice thing. Not sure it was, if this person was there, but is letting us know the other person was there. Absolutely. Now let's look at, and remember, here's someone saying this, and I would love to see this interview on YouTube if any of you have seen it. where it says they are good friends with the Worshams. Chris angrily stated in one YouTube interview that he will call two of the Worshams involved. The Worshams play a part in this somehow, somewhere. Okay. So Agent Simmons knows, so likely it is documented that they went out there and investigated Unit 10, as it should be. Let me put it that way. And we're gonna just say it is. So let me get this set up. This is credit to Mr. and Mrs. Mr. E's True Crime. Hold on.
Welcome.
I'm gonna get us to the timestamp. They live locally in Sumner County in Gallatin, and they are doing a drive around Worsham's to show the area. Full credit to Mr. and Mrs. E True Crime, and we are going to watch this. They also talk a little bit about their locals, so I love listening to them. I know the dead mice. We just debunked that. That is not fact. They are trained to differentiate. They are trained to know the sense, the aromas coming from a human death versus other rodents, animals. It's shocking. And then no local cops wanted to help them. She finally got a Tennessee officer who would help, but said, you can't bring my name into it. But it said it's 100% admissible in court and enough to get a search warrant. So I wonder if there was a search. I would hope so, because the thing of it is when people provide a tip, most people want to know or see, and we're not privy to it in any way, but they will keep talking about it, and more people talk about it, say, oh, did you know there was a hit on the storage unit? Did you know this so-and-so knows? So it's not like it's going to be, look what happened, so many things. And if you're following Ellen Greenberg right now, which I'm going to start covering, the teacher, just for let you know, please join me. It's the teacher 20 years ago whose death was ruled as self, but was stabbed over 20 times, some in the back, and some with no blood around them, meaning they were postmortem after death. And the family has fought for decades to try and the medical examiner originally deemed it a homicide. Then it was switched to a self. You know what I mean? I am absolutely going to cover that case. I have been studying up on it right before I came on here, my friends. I listened to Nancy Grace. I watched The Apartment on Hulu. There is a series. I will drop it in our community notes to you all. A series about the case. She's a teacher. They found bruises on her that weren't disclosed in the autopsy. They had a meeting, and suddenly after the meeting, the medical examiner came out and changed it to a self, not a homicide. The meeting was the DA, all the people, and Nancy came on and said, this is a cover up, because in October of this month, it is now back to a suicide. Oops, I shouldn't have said that. A self-harm. No investigation. It's no investigation. I'm going to be covering the case. I feel for that family. They have used every bit of their life savings. This happened in 2011 to their daughter, Ellen. And we are going to cover it. It is, in my opinion, an absolute homicide. And I will share the facts with you. I want to bring many of them to you. There's a lot of information out there. A lot of information out there, many years, and they deserve. Okay, let me say this. There are bruises on her. Well, you don't get bruises post D. Okay. So they happened beforehand. Well, and they're around her neck, and you can see, Nancy said you could see finger marks around her neck. Well, and that happened to her. But the bruising, I'm sorry, someone was just talking, lost my train of thought. The bruising on her neck and everything looks like strangulation. And there are a couple, the wounds, the not spoon, not fork wounds, are on her back. How could that be self-harm? But now he's come out in a deposition, the medical examiner, and said he was coerced into changing it to self instead of homicide or undetermined. They have someone else who's looked at it, and she now says those bruises that are on Ellen are from being a first grade teacher. Well, I'm a first grade teacher. I was before I was middle school. And in the midst of, I've taught kinder and first. I didn't come home with bruises all over my neck like someone was strangling me or my wrists. So interesting case. Look for it on Hulu. I'll put it in community post, but I'm going to be covering that as well. It is Ellen Greenberg. Looks like there's some cover up. And they mentioned that the DA at the time who was in that meeting where they met, where the medical examiner came out of and changed it from homicide to self, would want some sort of immunity. So what does that mean? Well, that means what they said on the show that I watched on Nancy Grace, that something nefarious must have been going on in that meeting. Then he goes, it's kind of like saying you're not involved or something like that. And he said, and pleading the fifth in court. Wow, who did I think of? Right? Okay, so this is a wonderful local couple, Mr. and Mrs. E and Auntie E. They have a child right now, middle E, who's going through some health issues. So give them some prayers and go over and watch this entire video. Give them a subscribe. They're wonderful. They always do support our work over here at Crime Time Buzz, and we support theirs. Great local family. Dan said, just a question. Could money be the missing part in this case, or does that have nothing to do with this? Dan, it could be. Follow the money. It could be. I don't know. I don't have the answer, but if I had to bet, I would have to say somewhere along the lines, money's going to come in. Money's in the play. Seriously enough to keep someone to stay away from a $500,000 reward. I don't know though. That's just kind of, hi Maria. That's just kind of but that's a great question, Dan. Thank you. Thank you for your emails too. I'm catching up on emails, friends. So here they are driving by and showing us that if KP went to the high school searching, I put them in air quotes, all she had to do was leave by the other side and be at the storage units where her allegedly stepmom is before anyone's been called or searching for him. She's 30 minutes from home before the market even opens. And they're very close to each other, as we saw on the map. But I want you to see it in real life because this is very valuable that they did this for us. So credit to the E's, all of them.
Video.
Sure. I can be pulling it up while you're talking.
The reason these locations are interesting.
Can you hear it?
Beech High School, we actually timed it today, is just over a minute away from their neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, you were driving super slow.
And I was driving really slow. It was like a minute 30.
30
so we
seconds.
figured it'd be more like a minute 10 from a normal person.
I don't know if you're an airport.
So anyways, it's about a minute away from their neighborhood. And if you recall the story of the morning that Sebastian was reported missing, Katie gets into her car sometime after 6:20 and around 6:20 and drives up to the high school, supposedly looking for Sebastian there, thinking that he just went to school with no shoes on. And is driving around their parking lot And then another part of the story is that the Worsham's Market, which is right across the street from Beech High School, like a little gas station marketplace that she's showing you there.
Okay, I'm pausing it.
I love the locals.
Okay, my camera work is not great today, just so you know.
Hey,
there
are
several reports, including one from one of the former PIs for Seth and other individuals, that claim that they saw grandmother grandmother Proudfoot or Bowersox. Chris Proudfoot's.
Take a second, get your names together.
Lots of names.
Kathy Bowersox was here sometime before 6 o'clock at the market, which would be a pretty good distance from her home, and a huge coincidence that she was there the morning that Sebastian went missing. Another interesting thing about this is that behind the general store, there's a very small storage building place that we're going to show. And there are rumors that one of those units is owned by the Proudfoots.
Not owned, rented.
Rented, right. Rented by the Proudfoot family. And that we do know that police have been to both of these locations trying to gather video. So what we thought we would see is what would it be like if Katie drove through these locations? What could she have been doing? What are spots she might have stopped to meet someone?
I just have to let you know that I did speak to someone who stopped in to Worsham's and spoke to, I believe, Mr. Worsham, someone who told them police came about a week later and a week after their footage had been destroyed, or a week later. They came a week later, excuse me, and the footage had been destroyed. Sadly, I think it would be very valuable based on some of the things. And if they were there a week later, again, I'll say, why didn't they find the mattress pad and all that stuff? Why did it take a group of volunteers? I'm glad they did, and I'm grateful. So they're going to do a drive around the high school, and they bring up a good point. Did he talk yet about what was she doing during her timeline?
A huge coincidence that she was there the morning that Sebastian went missing. Another interesting thing about this is that behind the general store, there's a very small storage building place that we're going to show. And there are rumors that one of those units is owned by the Proudfoots.
Not owned, rented.
Rented, right. Rented by the Proudfoot family. And that we do know that police have been to both of these locations trying to gather video. So what we thought we would see is what would it be like if Katie drove through these locations? What could she have been doing? What are spots she might have stopped to meet someone? Would there be blind spots at these stores where they could have made an exchange if, say, Katie had Sebastian in the trunk or something along those lines? All of those things. Would all of these activities have been recorded? And we just didn't know. So that's kind of what we're doing here, going back through this. So so we're going to start here with Worsham's, correct?
Yes. And I had
the gas.
I know
the gas is a good price at Worsham's.
I know. What was I going to? Oh, so I'm looking at our thing and it says we have 159 likes, but we've got 300 viewers. That math doesn't add up. So I would appreciate it if you guys would hit the like button so that we can get seen in the algorithm. We are a very small channel. And with your support, we can maybe do more things. I don't know. What do you call it?
More people can join.
More people. We can talk more. We can talk more. We can talk more. And yeah, all that stuff. I'm not good at this, guys. No. Sorry. Are you laughing? Because I'm not. You just said, yeah, you're not good at it. I know I'm not. Okay. So again, the camera work today is a little spotty. So we have two separate videos here. The first video is my video of Worsham's, and then we have a second video that's all cameras. So,
right.
All right. So here we go, and we'll just kind of talk this through. This is Worsham's. I'm going to make it big. So we don't need to be on the screen for this.
This is across the street from both the Beech High School and
right.
The Beech High School, the elementary school, and the middle school are all on the same giant property together.
I showed you all the map.
Right. So this is across really kind of from the
Oh.
elementary and the
Oh,
middle
close
school.
to this
Sorry,
one.
I don't know if this will show up very well, but I want Mr. E to read that.
Oh, I don't know if I knew this. W. Smith says they are good friends with the Worshams. Chris angrily stated in one YouTube video that he will call 2 of the Worshams involved. The Worshams play a part in this somewhere.
Well, W. Smith, if you could email us. Olivia, would you mind to put our email address in the chat, please?
Me too. If
you would
anyone's
email
heard
us that
that,
interview, I would
please email
appreciate
me.
it. I'd like to see it.
Hi, nice.
That one's news to me. That might be one of the interviews we
And I
missed.
thought I had them all. I have a big timeline with all these interviews, so
But
I would
that's
appreciate
good
it.
information.
Of course, you could have slid it into a Sling Blade impression somewhere, and we might have missed.
Oh,
Might have missed it.
that really bothered you.
It does.
Darlene,
The Sling Blade
You
thing
all
bothered me.
know- Do you know if they have searched the storage facility?
hi, Bubbly.
I don't
Not
know.
that I'm aware of.
Okay.
No.
Someone asked in the chat. Now I'm not aware.
All right.
I know they went there looking for footage, and I don't know what they got.
All right.
And so
Let's go
that's
ahead.
part of what we're interested in here.
Without further ado.
Yeah.
Hi,
Okay.
Noni. Excuse me.
And for what it's worth, this is a pretty busy, pretty busy gas station. Lots of cars were
Okay,
coming
so
and going.
I was trying to zoom in on the camera there. Like I said, guys, this is not high quality. And I got a little scared because there was a car and turned around. No, I'm just kidding. I just kind of wanted people to see how close the Beech Storage is to Worsham's, which is where Kathy Bowersox was
So
seen.
we're at the back of the store and going toward that storage facility.
Right.
So if you thought that might be,
I'm not trying to zoom in on the menu. I'm trying to zoom in on Beech.
so if you were thinking,
Okay, this
Oh,
is the
yeah.
other side of Worsham's. Okay.
yeah,
This is something I found interesting. And sorry about my finger. I told you guys it's not a good one. That at least we'll know if somebody steals it for their channel because my finger will be in it forever.
yes. So we kind of jumped back to the gas pump area, and there's this creek down to the side.
Yeah, and it's got a
little
trail.
paths and trails, and I'm sure these were areas that police went to almost right away in their search, because you would think to go along creeks and trails like this. So I'm sure they went down here because this would be a logical place for a runaway to try to slip through.
Right. And so that's just kind of give you some bearings on the thing. And now we are starting to see signs again. And so I took a video of one of the signs. We're starting to see these again in the area. So that makes me really happy.
For those of you coming in, I received an eyewitness account from someone who was at the storage units, which we're looking at footage of, and we're going to see how close it is to the high school. I showed a little map, but it doesn't do justice when we have locals like Mr. and Mrs. E who drive around and show us. So we're going to watch them next, show us how close it would be to enter the high school. Perhaps I'm going to search and then exit on that side exit, and you exit right out by the storage units. The reason this is pertinent is my eyewitness told me when they were there with cadaver dogs, police trained, you name it, that the cadaver dog hit more than once on unit number 10. The person, local law enforcement, by the way, didn't want to help. A Tennessee officer helped if they kept his name out of it. He went to Simmons, told Simmons, and she claims nothing has been done about it. I say claim, not because I don't think she's a wonderful source, as she is, but because I wasn't there watching what was done. So Special Agent Simmons is Bobby. You've heard Chris Proudfoot, the stepfather, refer to him on a first name basis. He is also the lead special agent for TBI on the case. So he does know about it. He knows that unit. What I want to know is, did they pull the records to see who owned the unit? I have a photo of the mattress pad. I have a photo of Kathy Bowersox, who allegedly was out there before the market even opened at 6 a.m. Between some of the sightings I've heard from were between 5 a.m. as late as 5:58 a.m. Also, that law enforcement was informed there were about 6 trail cams that could have caught her on that road, and allegedly, and they let law enforcement know. Did law enforcement go get those trail cams? What was done about Unit 10? Did they poll who's the owner? And not even if it's just not related to Sebastian. This was no, this is not recent. This is recently I found out that the cadaver hit on Unit 10, yes. But it was not recent. This was back in March of 2024, right after he went missing. Many people talk about that transfer at the storage unit or around Worsham's. Well, you can drive up to some of the units. Staff isn't there till 9 a.m. till 5 p.m., 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So you have 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. without staff there, but there are a lot of cameras. But if the footage is gone, but it's alarming because it doesn't always mean it's a body. It could be something that came in contact with a deceased person that is alerting, like clothing that was on them came in contact with them or anything else. So let's go ahead and watch the path that could have easily come right out of the high school, which would fill the 30 minutes if they were exchanging things, doing things. Allegedly, no one's being accused, putting things in the storage unit temporarily, maybe till you went and got the RV, then loaded it into the RV, allegedly took it back to the Step Socks home, picked up the Step Socks RV, took that to P-Foot's home, and then the RV with whatever was in that storage unit goes to Oregon to be sold on April 22nd for, was it $35,000 or $45,000? Just my theory. Let's keep watching, and thank you all for being here.
I would think Terry Lynn probably has something to do with this.
Why did they not use a more recent picture? I mean, he looks like he's maybe 12 in that picture.
Is that not the optimism picture?
I mean, that's not one of his older pictures. He looks really young there.
I don't know how old he is now.
Oh yeah, he does look really young in that one. You're right.
I'm like, looks like you would choose the latest picture you had of him.
Yeah. Well, I had been in Terry Lynn's chat, and I told her I was, that we were really starting to see more signs around, and I knew that she was responsible for that. And
that's good too.
It's good to see them, because that missing kid from school.
Okay.
I'm sure we all have a lot of theories about what happened this morning. So we're just kind of hoping that visualizing this can help us all flesh out. So this is driving into the campus. No?
Wait, no, this is us driving. Okay, so let me stop. Okay, so if we were imagining the morning that Katie came to the high school. So we actually had a discussion about this. Would she have gone the wrong way because it was the closest street in? Or would she have gone the proper way in where you drop off kids? Well, it was around 6 a.m, so there was nobody at school yet. My argument is that she would have gone in the first area she could go in if she was looking for a child frantically. His argument is maybe she didn't. So that was, but essentially I won over and we're doing my route. So imagine that.
Skystone, I don't think anybody said he was 10. I said the picture looked like he was 10. And we realized he's a 15-year-old.
Yeah, she was just saying that it looks like a much younger.
I think that the complaint is that we really wish we had more accurate pictures or newer pictures that made him look his age.
Right.
So.
Yes.
So basically, this is the Marsha. Thank you very much,
Marsha. That is so sweet. Okay. I think you mean us.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So the first we're just kind of
the real me. I'm going to take this down so it's easier to see for everybody.
I got it.
Thank you.
So we're just.
I made him drive slower too, guys, just so he wouldn't.
I heard about that all day.
Everybody was making fun of him driving so fast in the last video. Oh my gosh, you guys are going to make me cry.
Crystal, thank you.
And so Breezy, look at this. I'm sorry, I have to pause this and acknowledge these wonderful people. I'm going to cry.
Breezy is crushing on the Sandman super sticker. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Breezy.
Did she go over to Worsham's or that storage building? The cameras on this also, but we're mostly trying to show the path.
Right.
Because so like we were talking about this in a different episode that Katie, according to the timeline, seems to have been up here for like 20, 25, possibly 30 minutes or so.
Sorry, Misty's gonna make me cry too.
So it's, that's a long time to be gone. And this is just a minute away. What was she doing for 20 or 30 minutes? Was she here the whole time? Did she leave? Did she go over to Worsham's or that storage building or other neighborhoods,
Right.
So that's kind of what we're trying to figure out is what, how long would this have taken? What could she have been doing here? Why did she come up to the high school? Even the high school is not even a logical place to go first. She didn't even go to her neighbors. She didn't even go up the street it doesn't appear to any of the witnesses that she even drove, because I would be thinking if my kid were not there and I went outside, didn't see him in the yard, he's a bus rider, I would think, well, maybe he wandered up the street to go talk to some kids he knows or something.
Right.
Well,
they said he wanted friends.
I also find it odd that if she was frantically looking for her missing son, why she didn't stop anyone that she ran across. I mean, why didn't she run into Worsham like screaming, "Hey, if you see my son, this is, he's missing," and canvass that area that closest to her home.
This was prior to April. This was in June of 2024. And then in April of 2025, KP adds to her narrative in the Dateline article that she stopped and spoke to a lady who was walking her dog and she hadn't seen Sebastian. So I think that was to debunk what, her windows were up. Plus also, why was she zipping through there without talking to people? Just my opinion. Hold on. So they should be about to show us the drive. This way they could get out right to the storage unit and it wouldn't look suspicious.
And nothing like that was done either.
It doesn't make any sense, and the school's not open. It just doesn't. It just doesn't make sense. So why was she here? So we're trying to kind of go back and drive through the path and see, maybe something will occur to you guys while we're driving through here, where maybe a theory will pop in your mind that makes some sense. I've got some thoughts after doing this today that I did not have before, especially about the cameras. Once we get to that part. But do you want to play and continue through the path, or do you have something you want to add?
Morning Ray just said, so you all are focusing on Katie and Fam as your theory rather than him being a runaway.
At this point, we are, yeah. I mean, we don't. You
can just say what it always comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, we've done several episodes going through basically the way we started the channel.
And we don't want anybody to be guilty of anything.
No, what we've tried to do is we've tried to eliminate as many options as we can. Like we spent a whole episode just on Seth, let's just nip this one in the bud. Can we eliminate Seth as a suspect? And to our satisfaction, we did. And then more camera focused. Man, there's cameras all over that neighborhood, and not just Ring doorbells. There's corner on the house cameras everywhere.
And to be fair, those could have been added after.
Could have some. I'm sure some were maybe, but
I think Morning Ray, we are trying to be as fair as we can be, but we also are applying our logic to everything, and it's not, pointing us as that he ran away. I mean,
I think it's like I said, extremely low possibility.
And we don't want, like I said, we don't want anybody to be guilty, but there are some factors, and it always comes back to the shoes.
The shoes.
I would throw out everything you could think of, and he would be like, "But yeah, well, what about the shoes?" Yeah. He would always say that to me, and I'm not sure if we didn't mention it on this one, but what's the first thing that if you saw our last episode, Mr. E interrogated Aunt E and asked her about the shoes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because that's one of the first questions that people ask.
It's one of the, it's a common question that they ask of a missing child to determine if they're actually missing or if something foul play. And because people don't think about the shoes. And if you think about it, if you were, say, in your home and you unalived a person in some way and you were going to dispose of the body, it would make a lot of sense. I mean, most people don't wear shoes in their home. So if you were like, oh my God, let's get the body going, let's wrap them up, put them in the car, whatever we're going to do, that you wouldn't think, oh yeah, let's also grab a pair of sneakers and lace them up on the, you know what I mean? You just wouldn't think. A lot of people just don't think about it. So police know to ask that question, which is why I'm hoping that when they asked Katie that question and she said, no, all of his shoes are here, I'm hoping that was a major red flag for law enforcement and that they were at least suspicious of her story. I just don't know. I don't know if that's the case or not, but it should have been a red flag if it wasn't.
Of the annex at the high school at Beech. Yeah. So this road runs behind.
Yeah.
If you went to the left up there, it goes to the football stadium, so it doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, and one thing I was kind of paying attention. Let it go. Let it go.
Just let it go.
Yeah.
Okay.
All along here on the left-hand side, you're going to see several like athletic fields and things like that when we go to the back of the school. And I was kind of looking to see if how locked up they were, and they are all they all were locked. Mm-hmm. So they were all gated. So I was thinking, well, okay, well, what if you were trying to meet somebody back in one of those fields or something? Right. It wouldn't be easy. You'd have to hop a gate to get into any of those football, baseball fields in the back of the school.
Thank you all. You are all so sweet. I just want to say, as a teacher, once returning from COVID too, pre-COVID, people could be families could come on campus, things like that. They weren't they were locked up because of all the, mass, what's that occur. But after COVID, families weren't even visiting in classrooms and things. They were so locked up. There's lots of more cameras going on because of all the shootings. Excuse me, I don't know how to mute that. So I want to thank everyone. They are showing the path you would take. Oh my goodness, how do I stop it? Sorry, I don't know how to stop it. They are showing the path like I showed you in the map. Let me tell her to stop. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. So they're showing how easily she could have gone and what could have possibly happened with the 20 to 30 minutes of unallotted time. Because originally they said that they called at 6 to 5 a.m., but dispatch was about 6:33. 6:33. So there's a time where dispatch actually received the call. We listened to it yesterday. And so what went on in that time gap? They didn't call 911, so it's not recorded. They called into the sheriff's office, but dispatch had it about 30 minutes after 25, 30 minutes after they claimed to have called. I want to thank Kiki True Crime. Said Jay worked so hard. Let's give her a tip. Thank you so much, Kiki. Be kind to everyone. For 5 Crime Time Buzz memberships. Thank Kiki or be kind to everyone who is also a Whispering Winds. Donna Z. Thank her if you receive a membership. Thank you, Kiki, so much for your generous donation. Minnie, you're so sweet. Match me, y'all. Teach works hard. Show a little love. Thank you. Thank you so much, Direct Current, for the super sticker. Love it. Cooper, thank you so much. Crochet, thank you for the super sticker. Love the pup. Be kind to everyone. Buzz your way on the thumbs up button. Yes, please hit that thumbs up. Let's get this out there because it's alarming, that we talked about things about the search and Worsham's being one of them, which is why I appreciate the extra information that came to me about dogs hitting. I knew they were told it was mice, but I didn't know it was multiple times. A Tennessee officer was there with a very well certified and trained dog, and that Agent Simmons knows. So we have to assume that they went over there and I want to assume, let me put it that way, that they went over and they took care of this. So they're going to show us how easy it is. And then I'll take you back to the visual map so you can see where this drive occurred.
Because I was looking for like potential meeting spots, drop-off points, exchanges, whatever she may have been doing.
Storage unit.
Now we're going back toward the front, correct?
I'm not sure what happened because we'll call him Middle E.
We turned around.
Oh, we turned around.
Yeah, so now we're going along the front of the annex part of the high school. So it's on our left. Long Hollow Pike is on our right.
High school is very large.
Yes, this is a big campus. This high school's been around a while, so they've added on to it as it's grown.
That's right, Crystal. There are so many dumpsters everywhere.
Yeah, right. I mean, it could have been a place where she was dumping trash, but when we do the cameras, it'll kind of give us an idea, I think, of whether or not she would have been caught. So now we're heading toward the main part of the high school, which is there on the left. You can kind of see it starting there.
And guys, I'm sorry this is so slow. I purposely made him drive slow because last time we did this, we drove so fast. People were like, "Oh, you're going to get a speeding ticket. Ha ha ha. I'm getting motion sickness and stuff." So we wanted to make sure that we went slow enough.
I want to say something real quick.
There's got to be a happy medium here somewhere, but we haven't found it yet.
So with all the cameras at the school and the alleged 20 minutes to fill, 20 to 25, 30 minutes to fill, that you're allegedly, whizzing through the neighborhood with the windows up and you're spending your time at the school with all those cameras, it would behoove you to, in April, which is 15 months later in your Dateline Digital article, to state as you were arriving, you were told to turn around and go back home because law enforcement was coming. So before law enforcement was even coming, allegedly Kathy Bowersox was at Worsham's. Why not just go to the house? They're your family. Why would you sit by a storage unit? Why would you be out that early before anyone was even searching? Right? And now the story in April became, by the time I got there, I was told to turn around. Thus must be some sort of explanation for what did or did not occur on the camera footage, in my opinion. But I believe she went out that side, in my opinion, to the storage unit, and that's why that dog hit on that unit. Caroline, I did see your message about concrete and the metal building, and I will look into that. Thank you so much. You all are amazing. Absolutely amazing in your research, your analytical skills, the way you critically think through things. That's what we do here on this channel to the best of our abilities. And I'm not a professional, but we sure work hard at it. And some of your comments blow me away. And the information about the cadaver dog, what we do know is the special TBI special agent in charge of the case was notified. So we know that. And when we do these lives and these videos and we have things like what we know, like what we've been told about people watching footage at the command post day 1, sedan, people getting out with flashlights, he was taken, it wasn't random, you don't have to worry about your kids, etc. When we hear those things, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Your comments are good. There's a lot going on. When we hear a lot going on, but what concerns me the most, one of the things that concerns me is, like Mama Davis is asking, if you're in the bushes, was the unit checked? That's what we'd like to know. But what we do know is the special agent knows about it. So they will have on record, okay, We know about this. We were told about this. Now, she says in the message I showed you that nothing was done. Hopefully something was done and they just not privy to the investigation of sharing it. And it's documented what they did. I mean, at the very least, who owns Unit 10? Who rented it at that time? Who was renting Unit 10? That's not a hard, if it's in your short radius distance, and I say short because 6 miles, we took 1/3 of what a normal teenager could have made because we allotted for bare feet because he's tender-footed. He doesn't like to be barefoot, dark, and the terrain. Took the 3 miles an hour to 1. If you missed the live last night, go look at it. And that's 6 mile radius. And they did 4.5 and didn't get the footage in every store around, every place you could get. One neighbor claiming they saw 2 people carrying out like a black blob, dark blob. It looked, they couldn't differentiate. They weren't carrying a blob. And I'm not meaning to be disrespectful in any way. It looked like a blob on the footage. And Miss Bobby, the neighbor, said they told the police that, and the police said, that's not what you're seeing. What are we seeing? And that's why I want you to join me when I start covering Ellen Greenberg, because they're 24 years down. And now it's back to a self-harm, 20 stab marks of this teacher. They say her bruises from before postmortem or premortem were from little kids in her first grade class hurting her. Well, I taught first grade. I didn't come home with bruises. I came home exhausted, you bet, but not with bruises. So Nancy Grace said it on her show. What is the cover up? What's going on? And she ended her show. I'm going to cover Ellen Greenberg, excuse me. I'm a teacher. That's a teacher. She deserves justice. Her parents have spent their entire savings. Hey, Joanne. Thank you so much for 12 months of your support to the channel. Family members, we are a family here, and you're just amazing. You are awesome, Jay. Glad you were back. Missed you back at you. So we're going to jump into Ellen Greenberg's case. Dog the Bounty Hunter is also on Ellen's case now as well. He is still on Sebastian's case, as you, I'm sure, have heard that he will be searching with another group that was searching earlier and got out. And Cajun Navy. And I reached out because I had been so out of the loop. So I reached out for information on that. That's why I'm stumbling over my words, because I don't know exactly all of the information. But they will be searching. I know one of the states they said they were going to search is Mississippi. And that kind of makes some sense, right? With the RV parks in Mississippi. I also saw a post of them talking about ST. So just because they're searching doesn't mean 100% it's a recovery. When they're talking about it could be a rescue. Okay. I know things are starting to point towards somewhat of let's not even go there. Great question, Nicey Marie. Do we know where the school dumpsters go to? No, but that is a great question. Do we know where Worsham's goes to? Great question. Were those places located? Great question. Thank you so much. I'm writing it down. So let's see if they're going to get back to their, but they didn't get the footage from Worsham's. There's tons of footage at the storage units. What I'm really trying to show you here is how you can enter that high school and exit on the other side and not look suspicious, as they put it. And I liked the way they said that, so I'm kind of copying them right there. And meet her right at the storage unit. And why in the world is she up and out 30 minutes almost from her home before the market, Worsham's, is open? What is she doing out there? And if you're how did you know before the calls were made, etc.? Because she was spotted there between 5 and 5:58 numerous times, apparently, because numerous different people allegedly. So we don't know if she arrived at 5. So she may have arrived at 5 and stayed. been there a while waiting. I don't know. And this is alleged. But I don't know. But that fills that time of what KP was doing for that 30 minutes that didn't make sense. We called immediately. Well, okay, why is dispatch? It's not time-stamped immediate, right? And Kiki says, Jay, thank you for your sweet donation. Jay, I'm wondering about transfer stations the garbage goes to, why they weren't checked, in my opinion. I'm gonna keep the snark out of it. Okay. I want to be so sarcastic because I know you're thinking the same thing I am, Kiki. I'm wondering too, why in the world would you not go to a local market immediately and get their footage when it's that close? Teenagers gather there. That would be a good meeting place, regardless. I mean, he doesn't have shoes on. Why go to the school and not the market? Why not get out and ask the market, people at the market, have you seen him? None of it makes sense. But we're going to cover Ellen Greenberg too, and we're watching in real time. A medical examiner saying he in an affidavit, he was coerced by the prosecutor's office and others involved in a meeting to change the cause of death. Wait, excuse me. The mode of death, manner, from homicide to self. Why in the world? Look at Karen Reed trial. They proved she's innocent and there was corruption. Holly Bobo, another Tennessee case, which I want to bring to you, hit the courts again recently. People wondering if they've got the right person. But during that case, that's Tennessee. TBI, the agent, I believe, had to step away out of the case. There was, you want snarky, Jay? They were saying conflict of interest and other things. It happens everywhere, not just Tennessee, but it sure seems to happen a lot in Tennessee in our cases. Holly says it's corruption is horrifying. Yes, absolutely it is. Because where do you turn for help right? It's terrible.
And
like I said, this is not my best camera work.
With the kids, the kids don't go until 7:30 at the school, is that, or 8?
I believe that they can start being dropped off around, what did we see? I don't remember.
Sorry. Well, I want to tell you one thing I do know is that the trash truck comes a little earlier now. That's why it was in the neighborhood around 5:22, because it used to come a little later and it conflicted a little bit with the bus and the traffic of going to school. So that's why the trash truck comes, at between the 5:20 a.m. in the morning, not at 3 a.m., of course, which in the FBI update, they made it clear. FBI wasn't going to be heard on record that was a trash truck. We all know trash trucks don't go wheeling through the backyard, especially when you supposedly send your son on his last chore to put the trash can out in the front driveway. But they said that it's a light now, a reflection of a light of a vehicle. And I have a question about that, right? If we have a light of a vehicle and you're claiming it was from a vehicle truck, which means someone was out there. Well, I'm sorry. We got county commissioners saying they saw a 3 a.m. van. You're out there at the same time. The person with the reflection of light then should have seen the 3 a.m. sedan. Excuse me. Hi, Brenda Sue. Just something to think about. I wanted to get to where they show when they're leaving. So hold on.
Being an educator, I know
Just a few more minutes.
School safety, they put cameras on the exterior and interior of all the schools pretty readily now. So it would be very, very unusual for a school building, schoolyard, football field. It would be very, very unusual not to have multiple cameras from all vantage points in a school building.
Yeah, they do. We could see that there were we won't be able to get some of those on camera because they're inside, but they're pointing out. But we could tell that, like in the hallways, that there were some cameras pointing out toward the outside. So there's even more cameras than we're going to be able to show. So this is a little bridge that connects the high school on the right to the annex to the left, and we're going back to the back of the school where these fields were. And I was kind of thinking, well, what if somebody were hanging out back there to maybe, because I still don't really know why she was there. We're not sure if she was legitimately searching, if it was for show, or if she had to get something out of the house. Lots of possibilities, I think.
Lots of reasons.
No, our light still looks good. So it's okay.
And Roxanne said a lot of schools are gated. A lot of schools are gated now, but Beech High School is an older school. It's been around for a long, and they've added on a lot to it, but it is an older building, so they really don't have the luxury of being able to gate it very easily because of its location next to the highway.
Yeah. So now this is back again to the back of the high school now. And yeah, lots of little dumpsters and hiding spots, but also lots of cameras.
Some cameras, yeah. Lots of cameras.
Which is why, in my opinion, the Dateline article changed the story. My opinion. It is a nice.
You all might get a knock on the door after casing the high school.
Yeah.
I wondered about that because I know you can get in trouble for that, like in Washington, D.C., if you film the monuments or like the Capitol building. Like if you start recording their security stuff, you can get in really big trouble for filming like security checkpoints and things like that. They tell you to make sure you don't do that. Or
okay, it's coming up to show you how close.
Of some kind, So I was kind of like, man, we've got to.
Oh, Frank.
Hope we're legal here. What we're doing.
Yeah, it is a big school too. Yes, and they've added on to it.
I can't kick the car.
Yes. So now we're leaving kind of the high school, and is this the back of the elementary, right?
Yeah, we're going.
Yeah. So that playground was back there to the right. Now we're going to. This was the part that Mrs. E was excited about.
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna take you down, Breezy, because this part is exciting.
Yes, but thank you. We do. Brownie said thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
She actually needs her nails cut because she just scratched me really bad.
Maybe we'll do her nails with them.
Yeah.
But that was very nice. We appreciate it. So where we're now on the left, we haven't shown this building yet, I don't believe. That's the middle school. On our right is the elementary, and this road will take us straight to that storage facility.
Well, spoiler alert.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You ruined it. So basically, you can cut through the back there and get straight to Worsham's and Beech.
And Beech Storage. Yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
I mean, I have been waiting all day to be like, this is my reveal. And you've ruined it.
But
so explain it to me one more time.
Okay, hold on. Wait till you see it. See that?
Okay.
Does that look familiar?
Yes.
Okay. So you can go behind the high school.
Wow. Okay.
And cut around here to Beech Storage and Worsham.
So
wow.
Right here, right?
That's interesting. So the back exit that you can cut around the back of the school and go by the elementary.
So let's go to our map. So for those of you coming in, you can see what we are speaking of right here. And I know if I enlarge it, we're going to end up in a slideshow mode, aren't we? Oh my goodness. Yes, we are. Sorry, guys. I don't know why it's doing that. Let me close that out. I want to show you the map. So right here, you can see. Good, you can see it. If she enters the school over here off of Long Hollow Pike over here, she can come, like she's going to be searching this school for that 20 to 30 minutes, allegedly come this way. Here's the middle school. Come right back through this back side way and look what's here. Beech Storage, where Kathy Bowersox was allegedly sighted. So she doesn't have to come out where everyone, come right out where she came in. She can go right out here, which would then make sense of her. Go to it, which would then make sense of her. Sorry, guys. Statement. Where is her statement? Excuse me. From Dateline right here. Katie says she jumped in her car and began driving around the neighborhood. Katie also called her husband, Chris. See how now she's saying she called her husband, Chris, after she started driving around. Sebastian's stepfather, who was out of town on a business trip at the time. It's like terror, Katie told Dateline. What happened? Where did he go? I was in my car and I stopped and I asked one of the ladies walking her dog. That was new. That was new after things were said like, why didn't she talk to any of the witnesses who saw her? Why were her windows up? Why was she driving so fast? I was in my car and I stopped and I asked one of the ladies walking her dog and she was like, no, I haven't seen him. I would love to hear from that lady. Please email me at crimetimebuzz@gmail.com. And it really started to kick in at that point. Katie said. Katie says she then headed to Sebastian's school and got on a 3-way call with Chris in the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. By the time she got there, she was told to turn around and head home because law enforcement was headed to her house. That is completely different. That's April 3rd, 2025, 15 months down the road. Completely different than she went to the school to search. Suddenly, by the time I got there, I was told to turn around. Did they see her driving right in through that loop to the storage units and out instead of searching the school? I don't know. But it's alarming that the story, which I call it a story because the truth isn't a story, the truth happened. So it's alarming. If you're in the bushes, I see a few questions I'm going to refer to and I'll read them out loud. Diana said, Sebastian had to have been placed in the storage late at night. That's where CB was still sitting and waiting, in my opinion. And I'm really glad you say that. Not that you say that. I'm glad that you brought that up. Because I have a theory. The 3 a.m. sedan, I am so sorry, you guys. They're letting me know of one of my nephew's games. I haven't yet figured out on the new computer how to mute the text messages when they come to the computer, but I will. Okay. I've always thought that Sebastian made it home because of knowing that someone very involved said a 3 a.m. car pulled up, lights came out, and knowing that the images of something being carried through the yard and the audio. Okay? I believe that. But when I watched the Texas Roadhouse footage closer, and I saw, how there's those lights in that other parking lot, and I see someone running down the sidewalk, and there's someone staring at him in the restaurant. But anyway, someone's running down the sidewalk, and I do have someone looking at those images for me, but we can't. She's really good. And I can't yet see what she needs me to see. But what I think we're seeing is that he got out of the car that we saw him pull away in, is what I think I'm seeing. Another thing is, like I told you, is I received a message that from a person who allegedly claimed to have known Katie pulled over on the way home. Unverified, just a rumor. And I call it a rumor because it's unverified. So if you're the source, please, I'm not saying you're not a phenomenal source. I'm just saying because I wasn't there and didn't hear it and haven't been able to see something. But when you see what's going on, in my opinion, in the back of the Texas Roadhouse parking lot, that makes sense. What if, and here's where I need your help. What if indeed pulled over back there, Sebastian got out, changed vehicles, okay, and something nefarious is being planned. And I know some of you think that we're at rescue. Some of you think it's recovery. I've seen the images of all. Yes, they're disturbing. Here's where I need your help. If someone took him at the Texas Roadhouse, what was being carried, excuse me, through between the houses? Guys, I need to, excuse me, mute and get a glass of water. Think about that for a second. Help me put that together. Why was there a 3 a.m. car? Sorry about that, you all. So it just brings a lot of questions to light. And to hear that people saw the cadaver dogs hit, and now to learn just yesterday, and maybe you knew that it was more than one time on a specific unit, number 10. What was in Unit 10? I'm glad that Agent Simmons was notified. And I'm glad to hear, let me take you back to the message for those of you just coming in, since it is the heart of our title today. And I have other messages too. She said, in addition, the man who owns Beech Market, where I found the stained mattress pad, and I have a photo of that, and I have a photo of Kathy Bowersox at the storage unit as well, and somewhere the photo of the box, I could not find it, where it says Katie's pics on it. Also, he also owns Beech Storage, where the dog, which was an official canine police trained in cadaver guns explosives, hit on Unit 10 more than once per tax records, meaning that's how I know he owns it. Since none of our local cops would help, why would they not help? I was finally able to elicit help from another Tennessee officer who would only help me if I kept his name out of it. He told me that it was enough probable cause to get a warrant to search Unit 10. He told Agent Bobby Simmons, and nothing was done. That is the special agent from TBI in lead of this Sebastian Rogers case. Chris Proudfoot refers to him as Bobby. When I repeatedly followed up to see if it was searched, he told me that he did what he could and to basically leave him alone, not in so many words. She's paraphrasing. I was assured that this dog's hit would be admissible in court 100%. Yet this man seemed to want to disappear once he told Simmons. That is not the first time, and I can't share with you. I can't share with you, but it is not the first time that something was said about someone or something that happened in the case, and then suddenly no one will speak to them again or communicate with them. And I'm talking about like important people. So it makes no sense, but I believe it. And I want to share with you real quick. Obviously, they know the difference between a mouse and a dog, or a mouse and a human scent. We just read that. Here's someone claiming that they were good friends with the Worshams, meaning the Proudfoots, I guess, that Chris angrily stated in one YouTube interview that he will call 2 of the Worshams involved. The Worshams play a part in this somewhere. If you know where that interview is, please send it to me, crimetimebuzz@gmail.com. Also, if I'm not mistaken, the owner also owns the land behind Worshams across the creek. That's over here. Okay. That's over here. I was told that his daughter lived in the rundown house across the street, which has or did have a camera on the front facing Worshams and Beech Storage units. Beech Storage also has cameras around the perimeter. It's a tiny building, not multiple floors with interior units like big ones. So many cameras recorded the alleged meeting spot of Kathy Bowersox and KP, but I digress, and that's in her opinion. And people are saying that there were so many trail cams that caught Kathy Bowersox there because there was just not, it wasn't just one person. And some of you have said to me, well, Miss Bobby said that her husband saw Kathy Bowersox there in the morning. I have specifically asked that question and got a negative on that statement. So that is not your source, I don't believe. But others have seen that I have spoken to said that, and they even let law enforcement know there were also trail cams that would spot her there. So why would you not, if there's a missing child, why aren't you going to the house? And how do you know before anyone else knows? 5 a.m. to 5:58. She called Chris after 6 a.m., allegedly. But why is Mama Bowersox already at a closed market? It doesn't open till 6 a.m. on Monday mornings. It's very confusing. So the man who owned Worshams was mad at me and told me, I have you on camera looking through the area next to the creek. You stacked boxes and didn't throw them away at one time because they were out there searching. You didn't throw them away at one time and left some stacked on my parking lot. I told him that I threw away what I could as I had to take it to a different trash can so that I didn't use his dumpster, and I had to make 2 trips. He said, you should have put it back into the brush and woods. I told him that I thought he'd be grateful for cleaning up litter in his tree line, and he said, that tree line isn't my property. That was a lie. I didn't know till later, but was shocked when I learned he did own it. He upset me so much because a group of us were eating at the table inside his store, looking on maps to see where to search next of us. And he was coming at me with a raised voice, calling me sweetheart as he told me off. I told him, look, I am not your sweetheart, and I was about to get the rest of the boxes to throw away. I offered to go ahead and throw them away in his dumpster, to which he said no. I was so baffled at his odd and misplaced anger. It was like no matter what I said, he was mad. I got in my car, burst into tears, and drove over to a parking lot to wait on my friends to finish. Wow. That's a lot, right? First of all, saying your property wasn't his. Why would he want her just to throw it back in? That's very odd, in my opinion. calling her sweetheart. There's a lot of things that I think just don't add up. And here's, I have Beech Storage. I just want to make sure I read her messages because also, so here's the way she could have entered and gone right through here and been to the storage units. Entered on Long Hollow, right through here past the middle school, the high school, and right to the storage unit. And it would have just looked like she was out there searching, right? Allegedly, we're not accusing anyone. And here it is where she says, as she got, after all that time of us thinking she went to the school to search, it says, by the time she got there, she was told to turn around and head home because law enforcement was headed to their house. So by the time she got there to the high school, she was told to go home. In my opinion, that was to explain not being caught searching on cameras. Maybe just a loop through, right? Allegedly, maybe just this loop through was caught. And this was not gotten in time. What's in Unit 10? What made that cadaver dog hit? Did TBI get that search warrant? Remember, time frame according to the FBI report, even though Dateline Katie says in April of 2025 she went to bed at 11, the FBI report says Brandon Carter quoted Katie telling him she went to bed at midnight and at 6 a.m. he was gone. That's 6 hours. About 6 miles if you go 1/3 the average of a teenager walking, because we're allotting for terrain and darkness. Then we have eyewitnesses. Although Max jumped into the retention pond and they had other dogs searching this construction area, they did not stop the trucks from digging and moving dirt. Construction was not halted. And if they didn't get the footage from Beech Market, 1.3 miles away from Sebastian's home, in their radius, did they get it from anywhere else, such as the Homeworks, it's a construction company, or Burns Day School, the Presbyterian Church, the middle school, the high school for that matter? They missed Worsham's. Did they get it from the little house by Worsham's that they said someone thinks the daughter lived in? How about this diesel repair? How about above all home inspections? How about all these businesses right in here, solar works, etc.? Did they get the cameras from any of these places? Did they get the 6 trail cams neighbors said were out there that would show the step-grandmother was allegedly there between 5 and 5:58 in the morning? Why was the mattress pad lost? Why were people being followed? Why was there a file that said Katie's senior pics and stuff? CB had a unit there, or was she in that photo going to KP's unit? Someone has a unit there. Why would they be told it was a dead mouse when a cadaver dog hit, when they know anyone can inquire and find out the truth? Why wouldn't you stop if you are a cadaver dog handler or a police officer and tell that police officer, no, it's not a mouse? Tell whoever. Why wasn't there a search, or was there, on unit number 10? What was the death smell in unit 10? It could have been clothes that came in contact with death. It could have been a weapon. It could have been other things that did. It could have been a body. Could have been a body picked up later on when a certain RV was gone to get picked up, was then taken to the Bower Soxes, just alleged theory. Then the Bower Soxes RV was taken to the Proudfoots because no one would have known the difference because no one knew who they were by then at that point. Then the RV was taken to Oregon and sold April 22nd for, I wasn't sure, 35 or 45,000. But I think something was put in the storage unit and taken later when the RV came back. Put in the RV taken to the Mama Sox home, where the glasses were, by the way. Three homes away. But yet, investigators did not think that that was important enough. The step-grandma who was alleged in the neighborhood but didn't go to the home, hanging out by a storage unit before he was even reported missing. Glasses are found a few steps away from her backyard, a few homes away. Never checked a prescription. The glasses are found a few steps away from a hidden cemetery on the property that the step uncle or cousin, whatever he is, to Sebastian, owns and builds on. And a storage unit. A trip to Alaska. They had to go because it was planned before he went missing. Well, one's a realtor. They form their own schedules. They can get other people to do the things if it's a business trip. And I don't remember what Terry does. I've heard things about motor coach. I've heard other things. But anyone, I know myself, if I had a step, anything missing, I would make a phone call and say we won't be present. But that's just me. And then the search, Worsham's, why didn't they find all those items in Worsham's? Why, when certain items are called, do local police not want to help? Why are certain things said like, that's not the kind of tip we're looking for? I don't want to go in the creek and get my shoes wet. What in the world is going on in Sumner County? We need to find Sebastian. We do. And I think that the reason, let me see. Yes, in all the 44,000 acres, nothing of Sebastian's was found. No scent trail, nothing on footage, nothing belonging to him. If they came when that 3 a.m. sedan, for those of you who missed yesterday, I'll just recap. They came down, went up Kellen, came down Kellen, turned on Stafford, backed up, and came out. Now, if they went to the left, they passed the fire station, which I'm sure has cameras. Doesn't matter if the license plate reader. Does anyone know if they went right or left when they turned? Day one, they were looking at the footage at the command center. Commissioner said, don't worry, it wasn't random. He was taken and targeted. Your family's safe. There was a 3 a.m. sedan. People got out with flashlights. The neighbor who saw 2 people on their footage carrying something between the houses, when they tried to tell police that, neighbor Bobby shared with us that they were told, you didn't see that. Neighbors submitted footage and confirmed on, all neighbors submitted their footage and confirmed on the neighborhood group they had done so, except for C. Carr, the Hendersonville cop. He has 7 cameras, audio, night vision, and he did not. And his backyard faces the Proudfoot's house, the backyard. He's also the one that we listened to yesterday. They clarified his white Ford was in the driveway and he was with them riding around. They said that on dispatch. He's also the one who left on day 2 from the vigil and said, when asked, oh, it's so, so bad. Day 2, an Amber Alert was activated. Not a runaway. It's a crime. Oddly enough, even though we know that they were watching the footage day 1, and even a TBI agent, by the way, said where he is, he's not coming back from. We don't know what he means by that statement. They did not provide the vehicle description that they saw at 3 a.m. and that the commissioner was talking about to her friend source. I'm not sure. Okay, DA Whitley, day 3, goes to the command center. Well, his office is supposed to prosecute crimes, not just YouTubers. Actual crimes like CPS abuse, abuse to a child, neglect. I'm just allegedly throwing out things they'd prosecute for: murder, kidnapping, trafficking, theft, money laundering, any of that. But he was there day 3, which tells us, yes, it was a crime. Father is told there's no evidence. Sebastian walked out on his own. There's no items found in that big search, no sightings, no footage. But again, they missed all the items that were found at Worsham's and never made it there for the footage. They also did not follow up on numerous alleged sightings. Bristol, Virginia, the Spokane International Airport, no one could get a hold of them. Bristol, Virginia, they were notified. They didn't go or call. Many Whidbey Island. There's been sightings in Portland, in Oregon at Ford's Pond of the family right before the RV was seen sold with alleged family members on Facebook Marketplace. But they didn't make it out there either. What do they know that they don't want to go? Allegedly. Brandon Carter, lead detective now, since Sonny died, the sheriff died, making Eric Craddock, who told the father he will not do any press conferences and he doesn't care what the public and the constituents think. He became sheriff, and Brandon Carter became lead detective on the case. This was in August, I believe, of 2024. When this happened, though, Brandon Carter had gone to the Texas Roadhouse. And I know people are trying to say Texas Roadhouse has no idea who At Night and Dog are. That is not true. And I know that 100%. I can tell you I know that. I can't tell you how I know that, but I can tell you I do. Okay. And Brandon Carter went there, left a card. They called him back. He didn't call them back. He didn't come back. He didn't ask for footage, but they saw things that they thought, maybe we better save it, especially since a child went missing. And there's a few things that, we want them to see. Why wouldn't you get back? How many missing kids did they have? That should have been a priority. So a lot, but Unit 10 is very concerning. And did they call Worsham's and ask them who owned Unit 10? Did they call Worsham's? So again, this says at Beech Storage, this is from the person who found the stained mattress pad. The man who owns Beech Market also owns Beech Storage, aka Worsham's, where the dog, which was an official police canine trained in cadaver guns explosives, hit on unit number 10 more than once, per tax records showing he owned it. Since none of our local cops would help. Now, why in the world? You took an oath. Doesn't Sebastian fall in that oath? Or did they and just didn't need to tell anyone? I don't know. None of the local cops would help her. So she finally got help from a Tennessee officer who would only help if she didn't bring his name into it. He told me that it was enough probable cause to get a warrant to search Unit 10. He told Agent Simmons, who is the lead TBI special agent on the case, Chris Proudfoot calls him Bobby, and nothing was done. When I repeatedly followed up to see if it was searched, he told me that he did what he could and to basically leave him alone, not in so many words. I was assured that this dog's hit would be admissible in court 100%, yet this man seemed to want to disappear once he told Simmons. And that is not the first time I've heard that from people. When certain individuals were spoken to, suddenly they didn't want to speak anymore. Allegedly, in my opinion, that I am sharing with you, my dear friends. Angie, welcome to our family. We have a new YouTube member, Angie Seafried. Please welcome Angie. And Angie, how generous. You come on in, grow our family, join our family, and are so generous you provide a super sticker. Thank you so much, Angie. Welcome in. Everyone, please welcome Angie. Thank you all so much for being here. Now, there's the same kind of things going on in Ellen Greenberg case, which Dog is also on now, and Dog has not given up on Sebastian. I believe Cajun Navy is going to be searching with him, and when I have more of the details, I will let you know. I believe they said Mississippi, and I can't remember the other state. And Michelle said if there's a unit, I bet they find igloo type containers. Oh my goodness. Could be the things we have to think of, right? Hi, Wild Lilac. Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. We do stand with Seth. We're here to help make sure that justice is served. Sebastian's voice is heard, and Sebastian is located. Thank you all for hanging in. Thank you for watching the video, also the live on Michael Vaughn. And I will continue to cover that. As you know, I was in Fruitland, so I do have stuff to share with you all on that. And we're also going to get into teacher, just like myself and many of you have been in our careers. Ellen Greenberg, after 24 years, they are now stating again it was a self instead of homicide, and she had wounds not from a fork, not from a spoon, from the other, on her back of her neck and everything. Look for that case and go watch. And I don't know the title off the top of my head. It has apartment in it. Forgive me, but it's on Hulu. It's the story of Ellen Greenberg. And we will also be discussing her case and the show. So lots coming up, but definitely keeping Sebastian, Summer, Ellen. We're going to be keeping them close into our conversations this week and next. Thank you all so much for being here. Yeah. Oh, I'm seeing the comment if you're in the bushes. Also saying how did she continually over 20 times she was stabbed, by the way. And they're calling it a suicide. Oops, forgive me. They're calling it a self-harm and switched it from a homicide. And now the medical examiner is saying he was coerced into changing it. Why the cover-up? Why are we seeing cover-ups? Is there a cover-up in Sebastian Rogers' case? We need to find him. Hopefully, if there is, the people watching the Ellen Greenberg case will realize that the truth does come to light. It doesn't go away. Thank you all for being a part of Sebastian's army. Welcome into our first timers. Thank you for subscribing. Hit that notification bell, everyone, so you do not miss anything. Hi, Cece. Thank you. Cece said, bingo, Jay, about the RV. Hi, Diane. Thank you all for being here, and I will see you tomorrow. Stay safe and keep keeping on, my friends. Thank you again for spending time with me this evening.